Okay. Great. Well, that sounds good. I'm loud. Usually I'm loud on my own. This is even better. Hi, I'm Pasquale DeMaio. I'm the Vice President for Amazon Connect here at AWS. I want to start by thanking so many of you for coming out here. I know some of you probably came from the Venetian. It's a bit of a walk. It's great to have you here. I'm really excited to talk about what we're going to do today. I also have some tremendous customers here from Capital One to talk about some of their journey. I'm going to dive in pretty quickly here to talk about what's happening in the world of contact centers and generative AI and what we're doing in Amazon Connect to enable you to achieve incredible results for your customers. I'll start where I always like to, which is to step back and think about the challenges folks face. And, well, I've seen amazing things that customers have done to deliver customer service. The thing that I do find regularly is I still see so much of the same challenges that have been there where folks are still hamstrung by the technology they have that prevents them from delivering the level of customer service they want to. Not just to say, be ready for answering questions, but to proactively engage and change that experience. Instead, I see agents who are frustrated. I see supervisors who are challenged to know what their agents are doing and why they're frustrated. And then I see customers who are seeing the negative results of that. And I will ask you, well, I believe you've likely done some incredible stuff, even in your contact centers today. Are you truly satisfied, and do you really feel like you're where you need to be moving forward? Or do you feel like you have a lot more you could be doing and should be doing, and your customers are going to expect and really want you to do? At Amazon, we believe deeply that customer service is at the heart of almost everything we do. We strive to be the most customer-centric company. I've heard people joke that we're a customer service company that happens to sell products. I don't mind that, honestly. I think it's a wonderful way to think about the problem. At our heart, though, of that customer obsession is driving innovation to enable those experiences for our customers. Whether that be delivering packages over, in 2 days and then eventually same-day deliveries for many locations, whether that be Alexa bringing you the power of AI to have wonderful experiences with your family in your home. Anybody out there have an Alexa device? Listening to some music on it, asking it to set an egg timer, maybe getting your news. I love mine. I use it almost every day. Just Walk Out, where you can literally go into a store, pick up what you want, and leave without having to go through a checkout line or wait. It just automatically deducts it from you. You don't even have to make sure you count up what you have. We'll take care of it all for you. It's wonderful. You've probably seen some of those in the airports and other places, stadiums. It's amazingly fast to get something in a stadium that way instead of waiting in those horrible lines. And finally, AWS, which really revolutionized the way people think about technology, removing so much undifferentiated heavy lifting where you would go stack and rack boxes and you were spending all this time and getting no advantage from over your competitors and driving no innovation for your customers because what you were doing was so basic to what you needed to do. Instead, we've taken that off your hands so you can spend your energy, your effort, and your money delivering results for your business and, most importantly, for your customers. We took the same approach in the contact center, and that's why we developed Amazon Connect. Amazon Connect started as an internal tool years ago, in fact 16 years ago, and the person who wrote that very first line of code is still an engineering leader in the Amazon Connect team. We're incredibly passionate about what we do around this. We think this technology really changes people's lives, changes the operators, it changes the supervisor, it changes the agents, and all of that comes together to change the lives of our customers. We saw what we had done there was really exciting what we had built there was really exciting to customers of AWS as well. And we asked them, do you want this? Would this be something you'd be interested in? And almost universally, the answer was yes. We'd love to be able to take that same technology and apply it. The things that we were using to service more than 10 million contacts and interactions a day today, and the thing that we use for over 100,000 agents was something that many other big companies, even if they didn't have a contact center as large as that, were very interested in. And so we decided to bring that to market, and very quickly it became one of the fastest growing services in AWS history. And the result of that has been a large range of customers on here. We can't even come close to fitting all of our customer references up here, but you can see that there's a broad range of who's using this. It's not one type of customer or one industry or one vertical. Certainly places where there's very large contact centers like financial institutions where people value security really heavily and care very deeply about measuring and outcomes and are using it. But you also have small startups, people like Slice Pizza or Insomnia Cookies using it. And you couldn't think of two more different businesses potentially, but they both care very much about both excellence and accuracy in customer service. And as you can see now, we are absolutely delivering a tremendous volume of customer service across the entire globe. What makes Amazon Connect different? What are the differentiators of Amazon Connect? Why would I pick this over something else? The very first thing about it is it's truly a cloud contact center, and it takes true advantage of what the cloud can offer. Whether you have one agent or 100,000 agents, we can scale up and down for that. So if you think about COVID, many people in the travel industry had a massive rush of people canceling flights, canceling hotels. They had to double, triple, quadruple their capacity overnight. We simply let them use Connect to do so. It went up with them. Then 2 or 3 weeks later, they had almost no traffic, and their contact center went down to almost 0 calls. Same time, they just lowered it down to 0. They didn't have to do anything. The calls just stopped coming in. They weren't paying for a contact center that they had to plan for all this capacity for. They didn't have their customers listening to busy tones because they couldn't have scaled up in the first place. That just isn't possible with legacy contact centers. And truly, we are a leader in the ability to do this. No one else, I haven't seen anyone scale to what we can do here. And because our pay-as-you-go model is matched to it, the business drivers, your business drivers, are matched to it as well. And while certainly I don't expect us to have another event like COVID-19, and certainly I hope we don't, you're almost certainly going to have spikes and different changes, and you probably have cyclical business cycles like we do when we do Prime Day. We have to double, we have double our traffic in the middle of summer, and then also Christmas and things like that. It's really important to be able to be elastic to your needs, and it takes so much heavy lifting after all that planning that you would have to do to get up front on capacity and telephony trunks. We take all of that away and make it so you really are focused on delivering great customer service. The second thing we want to do is to really accelerate your ability to innovate. And we'll talk a lot about this today. It's going to be a main focus of my talk. But the first step to that is giving you true self-service of being able to configure your contact center. We offer a very powerful and broad-reaching UI to do that. We also offer APIs if you want them. Most customers do, but many don't. And in fact, you can drive all of the changes in Connect typically without any interaction with Amazon, whether that be turning on something like conversational analytics, or maybe looking at changing the way you want to look at your metrics and all these things. You don't have to come ask us for it. You just do what you want. We have lots of help for you, but it's all in your control. One of the things people really love to do and configure themselves, which historically has been really hard, is to deliver conversational experiences, natural dynamic experience for a customer. The example I always give is instead of saying press 1 for sales, press 2 for support, or now we see more commonly, how can I help you? Which is better, but really when you say, how can I help you, how often does the person say, let me talk to a person? Operator, that's how you can help me, right? The answer to that question can be very different if you really are thoughtful in how you design these experiences. And one example I love to give is if you've been at the airport and your flight's been canceled, a good chance you've tried to call to figure out what's going on and get that fixed. And so when you call up and the thing says, how can I help you? You're almost certainly going to say, agent, you're freaking out, right? You want to get that immediately solved, and you want to be sure it happened. Well, what if instead of saying, how can I help you, it said, I see your flight was canceled. Would you like me to book you on the next one? Suddenly the stress of being on the phone has been evaporated, and now you are actually feeling very confident that this thing is going to fix your problem because it's so aware of what's happening. Well, the airline certainly knows the flight was canceled. It certainly knows what you were on. There's no reason why we shouldn't be delivering these types of experiences. And I bet you have a lot of data about your customers that you could be bringing to those dynamic experiences as well. That is one example of AI. AI is an incredibly powerful thing, but it also is something that's bandied about as a lot of jargon, I think, and a lot of promises that aren't often delivered. In the contact center world, and in Connect specifically, we believe that we have to make every use of AI count. We want AI to be something that has real-world results that we will help you measure, and they will be easy to measure, and you can see them and demonstrate them to yourself and demonstrate them to your teams and your managers to show why you're making this investment and how you're benefiting from them. I'll talk a lot more about AI throughout this entire conversation, and has anyone here heard of generative AI? Okay, a few of you. So we'll definitely cover some of that today too. The thing that you'll keep hearing me coming back to that is I'm not talking about like, oh, I have a scratch, let's rub some AI on it. It's really, hey, you know, when you take that and you really point it at real outcomes for customers, it can be game changing. And we will talk a lot about that today. And the last thing about it is, in the contact center, people don't buy a contact center because it connects to endpoints. You all probably have a cell phone in your pocket. Anyone here have 2 cell phones in their pocket right now? So are you having trouble connecting to someone? I don't think that's the problem. The problem is, what do you do to make that incredibly efficient? How do you improve that over time so that what you were doing yesterday is not nearly as good as what you're doing tomorrow, and what you're doing in 2 years from now will be transformed from where you were today? And the big way you do that is through having great data and great tools for testing and making changes based on real-world outcomes. And so that's a big part of what we do in Connect, is give you full access to your data so you can make those choices. And I'll have a couple announcements today about what we're doing there to make that even better for you. So in Amazon Connect, as I mentioned, we launched back in 2017. We were a relatively sparse offering. We're focused very much on voice. That was the challenge our customers were telling us they cared most about, and believe me, we build Connect based on your feedback. 95% of these decisions are made based on customer requests for us and what we decide to ship. You can see how quickly we've accelerated our delivery here, and it's moved us well. We think we still are a disruptive offering. We do things no one else can do. We also now have moved into a space where we're a leader in the industry. We have a broad offering that offers the capabilities you need to do from end to end to deliver a contact center. We built out the tools to make that easy, so it's not a Lego kit, but instead something that is seamless to use. And these investments have been very high on our side of us. I'm incredibly proud of the team we built in Connect and how hard we work to make sure we're delivering these things on your behalf so that you can move quickly. And that is the main point of this. The goal of everything we do here is we want to be able to deliver great customer service, but we know the core to doing that well is the ability for you to innovate quickly. You need to be able to get things into production with the click of a button. You need to be able to test those things and see the results the day you launch them. You need to be able to turn them off, perhaps. Hopefully not, but sometimes things don't work the way you want them. You want to be able to know what's happening and then do that. And if you see something that worked well here, let's replicate it 3 more places and see if it works well there. We want to make that incredibly easy for you to do. And so if you look at some of the launches we've had here, whether that be something like tasks, where you can then track all the stuff that happens throughout the process of handling all the things that go on in your contact center, even the back office things that are outside your contact center but still impact the business. That's a great example where we're bringing the technology we have to bear so you can really innovate broadly across the contact center, not just in one little area. Another great example would be our case management tools, which now allow you to track customer issues from end to end. Let me dive in a little bit, though, when we talk about why you can actually move quickly, because anyone will say you can move quickly, but where does the rubber hit the road for that? And so the very first place is the one I mentioned, self-service. Again, you have access to control almost every aspect of Connect on your own without having to have any help from Amazon to do so. Of course, we're happy to help you, and we have great partners who can help you too, but you really own this. You can get set up in 5 minutes, take that first phone call, and that same contact center you set up in 5 minutes can scale to 50,000 agents, 100,000 agents. It's not a different concept. It's not upgrade. It's not new hardware. It's not having to go change a SKU. You have access to that capability right away, and you can configure and adapt to your customer needs over time 100% as you need to. Nearly everything also is low code, and most of it's no code as well. So it's not something where you have to have a legion of developers or a legion of operators to do it. It's really simple. Most things are a few clicks. For example, if you want to turn on conversational analytics, just a few clicks to turn that on, and you can start actually listening to every call in your contact center and making decisions and learning about what your customers are doing on every single contact. The next one is omnichannel. Everyone will tell you they have omnichannel. I guess I'm here telling you the same thing, but let me tell you a little bit more about why you can call it, why we have omnichannel, what that means to us. What it means to us is that the whole system was built from the ground up as a single solution. So we have one engine for routing. We have one agent experience. We have one analytics engine that's tracking all things across all the different ways you interact in the contact center. And we have one flow engine. I'll talk about that in a minute. But that flow engine is an incredibly powerful process engine that happens to also be great at communicating with people. And so that allows you to automate customer experiences, bring natural language into that experience. It also allows you to automate agent experiences, and it allows you to automate tasks that you can move the agent altogether from so that they can't make mistakes, or that you can help improve your reliability or speed them up and get those things that don't really contribute to what agents are great at, which is engaging with customers. The next thing I want to talk about is the data and AI. Because so much of this is built into Connect, you don't have to go do a bunch of work to integrate this in. It just is there from the beginning. So you're going to see so much AI in this thing, you're going to get bored, sick of AI. But it really is something where we bring it into the system, make it seamless to use, and then you see benefits from it. I'll talk about how we do this for conversational analytics. I'll talk about how we do it for forecasting and scheduling of agents. I'll talk about how we do it for caller authentication. There's so many different things you can do with AI here that can have meaningful results. And again, because they're built in and there's no cost for you to do them, you can test them and make sure they really work for you. And if you decide they don't, you don't have to keep using them. It's a wonderful place to be in power and control of your destiny here and be able to measure the results and make decisions based on data and outcomes, not based on guesses and promises. The next one I'll say is that we are one vendor. AWS is a large vendor, and we offer a ton of different services and ways you can build. We offer a tremendous place to store your data. We offer a tremendous place for you to build your apps. And within Connect, we offer all this stuff in a really tightly bound solution for you that is seamless to operate from end to end. And this solution, as I mentioned, contains all of these things that empower you to move from whether that's the front end piece where you want to manage telephony, we've got that all covered for you, all the way to the back end where we are exposing your data to you in any way you want to. And finally, flows. I said I would talk a little bit about these. Flows are a core part of Connect's value proposition for you. You're in control of a very powerful drag and drop technology to create an experience for a chatbot, or create an experience for a voice bot, or to automate tasks. And now with recent launches, you can actually build step-by-step guides in the same way for your agents. What's a step-by-step guide? Well, the idea is that most of your agents are doing a lot of repetitive stuff, but they're probably having a lot of pain doing it. They're moving between different applications. You probably have ones, you've watched them work. It's amazing. You could blindfold them, and they could all tab at the exact right amount of speed, at which point you would see them actually, see them do things where they know how long a page takes to load every time, and they won't start typing until it actually comes live, right? That's amazing. It's pretty cool. I don't think it's what you want to be paying your agents to get good at. You want them having empathy with customers. You want them turning customer sentiment around. You want them solving problems, thinking through things that are complex, not fighting technology. Well, these step-by-step guides let agents be effective on day one because they offer the ability to show that agent what to do, and then they can actually integrate directly to your back-end system. So if you want to change an address, if you want to be able to take a credit card, for example, these things can all be integrated there. One of the things that's great about this is, as I mentioned, these guides are the same flow engines. Literally one new block to create a visualization. And now, so if you have an expert in chatbots, then you have an expert in voice bots. And if you have an expert in voice bots, you have an expert in task automation. And if you have an expert in task automation, you have an expert in guides. So these people are fungible across your enterprise. If you want to have separate teams doing it, they can talk together and learn. You can also build modules within this. So let's just take that credit card example. You probably have an integration with a provider there, right? That integration is very important to you that it's secure. If you find out that there's a problem there and a security issue, you want to change it. Now you have to change it everywhere. Well, with a module, if you make that change once, you submit it, that's going to change across your entire domain of every aspect you have this, whether that is inside of the agent guide or whether that's in the IVR or whether that's in the chatbot. So this is an incredible accelerant to your ability to provide these things and to eliminate human error, to automate the things that you want to be there, and with that A/B testing to improve every day at everything you're doing. So a real key aspect of the product. Now, all of this, as I mentioned, has helped deliver that set of customers that you saw earlier on, which is what we're really, really excited about when every day we wake up, we think about enabling people like you to have great contact centers. It's been very nice for us to see recognition for that, I will say, and one of the recognitions we've had, wonderful, is that we were anointed a leader in the Forrester Wave, which is a great thing for us to have, and hopefully gives you confidence that what we're saying up here is something that you can deliver and use. Similarly, Gartner has moved us into leader quadrant. This is only 6 years after launching the very first, the product, and and after only a few years of being actually taking part in these evaluations. So I don't want to say that we're proud, because we're always humbled and know we have so much more to do. But it's an incredibly wonderful feeling to know that we have delivered something that not just our customers are telling us works, but also that the analysts and experts in the industry are telling us works well too. At this point, though, I think it's a good time to actually hand this off to some folks who hopefully will be even more believable in that statement, because they're using the product to deliver amazing outcomes for their customers. And that's some folks here, Chris and Ram from Capital One, if you guys don't mind coming up. They've been here with us from really nearly day one, and they have been innovators on top of Connect, and they have also benefited from the innovations of Connect over this time to change what they're doing on a continual basis. And so with that, I'll hand off to you two to tell a little bit about your story. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pasquale. How's everyone doing? My name's Chris Short. I'm a senior product. Ron will be back later. He's going to do more than just walk in. I promise we'll get to hear from Ram. I'm a senior product director at Capital One. Ram's my tech counterpart. We're really excited to be here to talk to you about our journey with Amazon Connect over the last few years. Our focus at Capital One is in credit card servicing. So we're really focused on solving customer needs that blend a mix of AI and human assistive technologies. Specifically, we own voice and chat platforms and infrastructure that's largely powered by Amazon Connect. So let's jump in. I'm looking forward to sharing some insights on how we're partnering with Connect. So first, just real briefly, some context on Capital One. Founder-led company. Started with the mission of making financial products accessible and simple for customers. Variety of financial services. Third largest credit card issuer in the US. Top 10 bank by deposits. A lot of auto loans. My wife suggested a bullet point around volume of commercials that we run. I'm sure you've all seen. But there's truth to that. Acquisitions business, but when you get past Taylor Swift and Charles Barkley, you're handed to the real talent, Ram and myself, who help with servicing your accounts. We care for over 100 million customers in all. We have 50,000 associates. And the key unifying thread as we've added these products over the years has been differentiated tech investment. We really think a lot around how we build experiences for the customers to pull this all together. And as you can imagine, there's a real diverse platform and capability ecosystem required there that we view as a mix of in-house partnerships with Amazon. So we're kind of always thinking about how we can make that better on behalf of the customer. Perhaps no better example of our commitment to tech investment has been our cloud journey to date. Capital One's managed to build really a technology company in a highly regulated financial services industry. We began our journey with Amazon almost 10 years ago at this point, recognizing the power that cloud could provide with respect to scale. Within a couple of years, we quickly declared we're all in on cloud and worked to fully exit our data centers. And along the way, that modernization journey built a lot of new tools and capabilities, which we've since have started to externalize for others through our Capital One software offering. I highlight all this just to put some key themes out there, which really a nonstop building culture, constantly hunting for new value, and really the balance and need within the financial services industry to build well-managed and take care of risk, but also finding ways to innovate on behalf of the customer. So really our focus is how do we build it right and nail the basics to create space for some of the shinier objects that we all get excited about. With Connect specifically, we embarked when they're in disruptor mode, I guess about 5 years ago, with the goal of connecting our end-to-end experiences and creating a flexible network infrastructure. Our primary stakeholder set, customers, agents, supervisors, administrators, consistent with what Pasquale showed before and what he hears from customers. From a customer perspective, disjointed experiences, who's tried something in an app and then called and have to restart and get transferred to the wrong place. We've all experienced some element of that, unfortunately. We really want to get to a point where across the scale of 1 million calls and chats per day, we at least need some consistency for how we're handling these experiences. From an agent perspective, they bear the brunt of that experience. I'm certain no one here's ever given an agent a hard time for the frustration we cause in our systems. But from an agent perspective, a lot of juggling of apps and windows and difficult to onboard or upskill new agents, and really just taking away the time from servicing the customer. So it really had a goal of simplifying the agent experience for the thousands of agents that Capital One has across the world. From a supervisor or operational supervisor perspective, really long lead time for changes, honestly, like limited levers to even optimize the network in real time, a lot of manual reporting. So we really need to get to a point where we had more of the real-time monitoring and ability to scale in near real time. Finally, from an administrator and technical perspective, it was a complex, more complex architecture in the sense of variety of different DCs, partners, tools, and just the tech debt required to run that day to day, ate away at the time spent innovating or thinking about the customer. And I'd add, even not explicitly mentioned here, but organizationally, there's rarely perfect alignment on the relative order of precedence of these personas, which at a larger financial services firm becomes a huge tax on the team. So what initial Connect migration enabled us to do was unify the tech platform, but also start to transform the operating model of how these different personas interact with each other, or how we think and build with respect for the customer. So the initial Connect migration, we successfully migrated our contact center to cloud on Connect. We moved to the cloud, we enabled all the network configurations, real-time data, millions of cost savings. Everyone who built that had a good performance review that year for sure, from a technology perspective. So we laid all the technical foundation, which was awesome. But I think the thing we even underestimated at the time was the repeatability of value in terms of, okay, our foundation is safe, we're not reactive in how we think about solving problems. We now have the space for deep inquiry and thinking big around what are the step changes or transformational things we could do on behalf of the customer. So since 2020 range, we've kind of been in this mode of rapid innovation, which has been a mix of Connect releasing new features for certain, but because Connect's created the stability with our infrastructure, space for our tech, recoup our tech teams or product cycles to think about building new things on behalf of the customer. So it's been really amazing time. I mentioned active passive resiliency here. The point there is just we are making proactive investments in resiliency versus kind of waiting for something to go wrong. So again, investing and innovating from a position of strength because the basics have been solved for us working on Connect. And then from a self-service perspective, our ops partners now have the ability to enter a no-code portal and make adjustments to holiday hours or turn on some sort of emergency messaging or high-call volume messaging to notify the customer without having to work through the actual technical teams themselves. So really simple. Then forward-looking, it really becomes around how do we extend these benefits outside of card proper? We envision a world where customers don't care how we're organized as a company, right? It's I have a bank account, I have a credit card account, just service me and solve my problem. Right? So we think a lot around how we share the innovation across Capital One, create a shared, resilient, contributable platform, remove a lot of those pockets of arbitrary tech uniqueness that we build, and really just kind of consolidate investment and thought and really start with the customer versus kind of the local needs. So this slide is non-exhaustive, but is meant to highlight the benefits of Connect from a set of things that are kind of always on in the financial services industry. For us, the price of admission for continued innovation is nailing the basics. And Connect has really helped transform and simplify some of these key always-on needs. From a rapid configurations perspective, we're coming from a world that was hard-coded and manual deployments to, on Connect, we're able to standardize and create some dynamic configurations, reduce the volume of flows that we're caring for, and generally just simplifying our setup. From an operational flexibility, I mentioned kind of the no-code UI, but just increased levers and ways of making operational changes on the fly. I highlight here queued callback. It's very specific, When COVID hit, a lot of uncertainty meant more than forecasted calls. We have agents that are moving towards home, so we had kind of supply-demand issues. With Connect, because we already had the foundation in place, we're able to scramble a queued callback feature in less than 3 weeks. So, if you call in and there's a longer than anticipated wait, we just notify the customer, we'll keep their place in line and give them a call back when the agent's ready. The last one I call out here, being in the financial services industry, just proactive risk management. It's just way easier to create like a standard across card and bank and financial services, and Connect's really helped in that regard as well. So again, not exhaustive, but highlight some of the secret sauce of our operating model that we're now getting amplified value in everything we build and as we invest in more innovation. Cool. So with Connect as the centerpiece of our infrastructure, we're now kind of able to focus from modernizing the tech stack at the lower level to kind of thinking about how we want to build seamless and cross-channel experiences for the customer. Like I often refer to kind of like the older paradigm of a customer fumbling around in a mobile app and having the safety net of a human agent to assist them. Our focus now is how do we best pull in the mix of AI and human to solve a customer problem, in a more collaborative and assistive way. So we think a lot around meeting customers in the channel of their choice, and that's only been possible by investing in the foundation. And then thinking through, okay, there's gonna be a mix of what a customer explicitly tells you they want to do, and then kind of the things that we can apply through modeling or internal data on our end. And the power of Connect is, in a very consistent way, we can apply rules and logic for what the next best servicing action to take based on your context or what you tried or where you failed or what worked for you last time you attempted to contact us. And what's been cool is how that tech platform marries up with the needs of how you actually optimize the network itself in terms of how you distribute to the best agent for that servicing need and how you upskill them and how you forecast and run all the data cuts based on that. So Connect's been super powerful for kind of going from like the old paradigm of just a static telephony channel that kind of like flows from picking up the phone to a human agent to one that we're really starting to think in a true omni-channel way. I think Ram's going to come up now and kind of speak more specifically on how we've kind of brought that to life for the outbound servicing channel.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ram Meparla. I'm the Director of Software Engineering in the card technology space at Capital One. Just giving you a broader context about our contact centers. We have contact centers across the globe. We want to reach out to our customers or let our customers reach out to us at any given point of time throughout the year. So our contact centers are open 24/7, 365 days. So obviously, something goes wrong, I get a midnight call. So not a good thing to have, but thanks to the partnership with Amazon, when we launched the Amazon Connect, the whole paradigm shifted where everybody's getting good night sleeps now in my team. So getting into our the dialer, outbound dialer use case. What we have done is we want to reach our we want to let our customers reach us at any given point of time, but also help our customers at any given point of time based on their need. Outbound dialer use case is unique in a way where these customers are looking for opportunities to get back into a servicing mode where on their own terms. And we want to make sure we are empathizing with their situation, giving them options to get back into the servicing mode. But at the same time, we also have other personas like the agents, the supervisors, and the administrators who do all the brunt of work behind the scenes. We want to make sure our agents are not doing a lot of manual tasks of reaching out to the customers and getting the busy tone or just the dial tone or incorrect numbers or voicemails for that matter. We want to automate as much as possible so that the dialing and connecting to the customer is completely automated and the agent is connected only when there is a successful customer contact. from a supervisor standpoint, we want to give them the real-time access to the data, because what we are in the business of financial services being, and our top priority is risk management and the regulatory and compliance requirements. We want to adhere to all the TCPA regulations. We don't want to reach a customer at midnight. We want to make sure if they are residing in California and having a New Jersey number, we are not calling them at 9 p.m. Eastern time or midnight Eastern time or early in the morning. We want to make sure we are adhering to the state laws and the federal laws, right? So having that real-time access to the data ensures we have the real-time suppressions and all of that. And last but not the least, the administrators who are working on creating these outbound dialer campaigns. They need to have access to this data to make sure they have the right customer information at any given point of time. Now, going into our legacy platform, last year, we had a hosted solution where the solution was not on cloud. It was on-prem and hybrid. It was on-prem and on cloud. So we had our own set of challenges with lack of access to the real-time data, which was a big problem. Manual and complex reporting, given the solution was not on cloud or it was on-prem, and they had their own issues with their infrastructure. Having the real-time information of the reports was a big problem. And given it's a hosted solution and we didn't have it, it was a black box to Capital One. And the last thing you don't want to have is calls are happening and there is an infrastructure issue and there is a maintenance happening in the vendor infrastructure, and agents are unable to reach the customers, right? And if you look at the entire ecosystem, we had the inbound call routing and everything on Amazon Connect, which was, we had access to our data, we had control of our destination, but the outbound dialer solution was feeling like it was residing on a remote island, which with no connectivity to the mainland. That was a big problem for us. So what we did was in late Q4 last year, we started doing an analysis on all the other opportunities out there in the marketplace to see what is the alternative. Is there a way we can consolidate all the inbound and outbound infrastructure into one space so that we can have better control of our destination? And Amazon Connect was a clear winner when it came to meeting the technology requirements, but also the non-functional requirements when it came to the resiliency standards, meeting the TCPA regulations, giving access to real-time data. For that matter, we wanted to also ensure we had the risk management aspect, which is the resiliency, right? We had a clear winner with Amazon Connect, so that where we had the entire inbound and outbound capabilities in one tech stack with clear transparency on what's happening in our ecosystem. When it came to the real implementation, right, it took us less than 3 months to deliver this. We leveraged Amazon's Pinpoint and high-volume outbound communication channel services to integrate with our internal systems. The real task of setting up the Pinpoint and HWalk was 5 hours. Sitting with Amazon Connect team, engineering team, and Capital One software engineers, we were able to configure everything. But the complexity of the system was, it's a pretty distributed ecosystem within Capital One, because we have our own CRM platforms, we have our own data warehouse, Snowflake, and we also have our own system of record for our customer resiliency, where the real collections data is coming from, with the customer data is coming from our the CR platform. So what we had to do is build several Lambda functions and host the data or the attributes in a Dynamo, or store the files in S3. So it was pretty distributed architecture where we had to build these integrations across our ecosystem. And all of that, including the change management, the risk, the compliance, the legal reviews, all of that was done within 2.5 months, and kudos to the partnership we had with Amazon Connecting. During that 2.5 months period, during the implementation, we were pretty much having a live Zoom with the Amazon team, and we were able to get the issues resolved. And the cool thing about it is the issues were not getting resolved in days. It was less than a day. We had our observations shared with Amazon Connecting. They would go back and fix it. By the time we come back online, the fix is already there, scaled at in production across the region, so that we could continue with our rollout process. And not to forget the key metrics here. When we launched with 50,000 calls per day. But within a couple of days, we were able to hit 600,000 calls per day. And within a couple of months, right now we are hitting 1 million dials per day, which is no easy task for a contact center of our scale. And one of the big concerns we had was ability to hit or detect the voicemails when the customers, not everybody leaves a standard voicemail. Someone says, leave a voicemail. Someone says, thanks for reaching Ram. Or someone says, they don't say anything. So how do we differentiate and identify the voicemail detection? And we were pleasantly surprised, and we were very happy to see that Amazon Connect's voicemail detection was hitting at 95%, which was at least 15% better than what we had earlier. And when it comes to the connection, success rate, actually reaching out to the customer at the right time, at the right place, we had a 30% increase in the connection rates, which means it's a better job satisfaction for our agents, because they are able to talk to the real customers and not just leave voicemails. They are talking to the customers, helping them with their situation, and getting the value for both the customer and for Capital. Now, this is what we did is for CART. The next thing in our journey is how do we scale this at an enterprise level? As part of our imperatives, and one of the biggest imperatives we have at Capital One is to become a platform company and remove the arbitrary uniqueness. Like across LOBs, we have the same Amazon Connect instance, which is not the same, but in fact, several instances of Amazon Connect across LOBs trying to build the same experience for the customers. And what we want to do is to remove that duplicacy of effort and optimize the way we build and manage our infrastructure, but at the same time, provide the top-class customer service to our customers across product segments. What we also are focusing is how do we keep Amazon Connect in the center point and build an ecosystem around Amazon Connect, where we are able to provide top-class customer experience, meet our regulatory needs, but at the same time, remove the complexity of managing this infrastructure. The beauty of the whole dialer implementation is we are not, it's 100% serverless. As I said, we had Lambda functions, which are serverless. We don't have any APIs. It's all Lambda functions. We have all our attributes in DynamoDB, which is a managed read-write replica, and our custom portal is on Fargate. Right? Everything is serverless, and we don't want to be in the business of managing infrastructure. Managing infrastructure, but be in the business of creating product innovations for our customers. I'll wrap it up saying, we want to be in the business where we want to provide our customers with the top-of-the-line experience across product segments and align with our mission statement, which is changing banking for good. Thanks for having us today. I would like to invite Pasquale back on the dais to continue with our next slide.
Thank you so much, Chris and Ram. Thank you for being such great partners, and I love the fact that we use that term when we talk about our relationship with our customers. Thank you for being early adopters of the outbound campaigns. Our learnings together have made the product a much better product, and it's tremendous, and we just want to keep pushing forward with you on that. And thank you guys for being amazing users of Amazon Connect overall. I love that. I love that story. I love the way we work with our customers, and I love the way we see our customers' results together and celebrate them together. As we talked about before, we really do think about the contact center with a couple different sets of users in mind. The first one always being the customer, then the agent who's a direct contact to that customer, and it's really the front line of that thing who is really the face of your business. In many cases, this may be the one time you actually talk to a customer face-to-face. The one time that customer actually has an interaction with your business that's sort of more meaningful than just looking at a web page, which hopefully that is a meaningful experience too. But this is a real differentiator in that way the person's now going to think about your business, and you have that opportunity to disappoint them, you have the opportunity to maybe meet their expectations, or you have an opportunity to potentially delight them if you really are thoughtful in the way you deliver your customer service to them. Supervisors obviously core to this, and they are often the ones who have some of the toughest times in the job because the tools they have don't give them the insights they need to do what they want to do. And then, of course, your administrators, who often have the thankless part of the job, which is most of the calls they get are because someone's unhappy with something or wants something, or in worst case scenario, something's gone wrong. We want to change that to a place where all these folks are empowered to deliver the things they want to deliver. I've yet to meet a person who works in this industry who doesn't want to deliver great customer service. I have met a number of them who are hamstrung in their ability to do so by some of the challenges they face every day. So as I think about this from the customer's perspective, they want to meet you where they want to meet you. They have expectations of being able to meet you digitally. They want to be able to call you. They want to be able to talk to you. We continue to innovate there and delivering automated experiences there that can delight. This was something we, as I mentioned, built from the ground up to be able to improve that experience and to make it so that everything you're doing across one channel really accrues to another one. We have great customer outcomes here. Texas was able to understand much better what their customers were calling about, what their students were calling about, and then they were able to actually, able to move much, much quicker to be able to deliver customer service. In their case, they moved from 15 minutes down to sub-minute experiences for their callers and their contacts. This is not an uncommon thing for us to see because you can move so quickly. A lot of those things that are bottlenecks, often you know what you want to do, but because it becomes so much easier for you to make these changes, you can deliver them very quickly across so many changes. Channels are an interesting part of the business here, and obviously customers are having more and more ways they want to contact you. One of the things we're launched this week is SMS integration directly inside of Connect. So no longer do you have to deal with what is a pretty heavy lift of trying to integrate with an SMS provider, then trying to work that through your broader contact center. We make this very, very simple to do now for you. You can claim a number and get going with SMS and have your customers communicating to you with that, what is a very highly leveraged communication mechanism for people. Even more exciting potentially than SMS, which I think is incredibly cool, is we are announcing and bringing to you in GA form in-app and web-based calling using WebRTC. So you may know that Connect uses WebRTC for years for the agents. With the changes we've seen in people's expectations, with the changes in the way people interact, and also the changes we've seen in the network capabilities, we believe the time is right now for folks to be able to bring the benefits of the security, the integration of the experience, the power of being in an app when it starts, and picking the right channel to communicate with the customer to you in a way you can now do that in a web page or in an application. It's great to be able to bring back the data you know about the customer, the fact that they are authenticated quite likely, and use all of that to speed up the interaction on the other side, whether that be automated or for an agent. Bring that data right into that experience and bring it right to the agent's fingertips. Another thing we've been working on is generative AI for self-service experiences. This is an area which is getting a lot of press. I suspect some of you came to this conference specifically just to hear about this. It is very exciting. It's also an area where we want to be very thoughtful in how we do it because, as you know, generative AI is incredibly good at understanding things and expressing and communicating with folks, but that doesn't make it honest all the time. You've probably seen some of the things where there was a lawyer who asked the generative AI to write a case study and provide a bunch of different examples, and it wrote one, and the examples were really good. Unfortunately, none of them were true. None of them actually existed. And he actually said that he sent it to another generative AI and said, hey, can you check and make sure these are real case studies? And it said, yes, they were. And so I don't think he has, I think he don't have a license anymore, but well, probably there are some cases where that kind of error wouldn't be too bad in certain scenarios if you answer a question wrong occasionally, maybe it's not a big deal, but I'm betting that in most of the cases where you're interacting with customers, it's pretty big issue if you get something wrong. And doing things like math is something that they're not necessarily strong at. So what we've done is we've integrated this into our experience today and made our tools, our Lex NLU tools, better for that. So your experience inside of Connect actually just improves. It's much easier to design the bots now. We keep the same guardrails, though, that we have with the Connect flows and the same observability. So you can control what's happening, the LLM can improve the experience, and then you can also measure what happened afterwards. So instead of saying, hey, there was a black box that did something, I'm not sure what, but this is the outcome, you can say, no, we know exactly what happened, we know what we did with the customer, and we can record that. And that's that same flow language we talked about before that's enabling you to get these benefits with our generative AI investment here. And that's just a really powerful thing for you to be able to know you have the confidence you're doing the right thing for the customer while still staying up with the technologies that are going to make those experiences better every day. And I'll jump to the agents now. Agents, of course, are the heart of so much of the operations here, and well, everyone's told me agents are going to disappear in the next 2 years for the last 10 years. I haven't seen it yet. And the reality is it's because, not just because people can't automate stuff, there's so many things, automating things is actually fairly straightforward. And with Amazon Connect, you can automate many tasks in an afternoon for your customers. But that doesn't mean it's the right thing to do for your customers. What the right thing to do here is actually often to provide the experience that transforms their interaction with you. The example I use is if you get overcharged by $5 on something, it's probably not going to break the bank you for the year. Maybe you would have to skip Starbucks, you'll probably figure out something, right? But the feeling you have about what that company did to you is very real and very meaningful. And you want the satisfaction of knowing that they are going to correct this and they're not going to do it again. And so that's a place where talking to a human being in that scenario can really change your perception of what happened. Correcting the issue, getting the $5 back is probably not the biggest thing for you there. It's probably more about knowing the relationship you have with that company feels respected and you feel like you are being treated right by them. So doing this is something we want to do to remove all of the experiences that agents have that are detracting from their ability to do that. So much of their time is spent, as I mentioned, alt tabbing. It's fighting with tools. It's trying to figure out where to go. It's trying to remember where to go. And so we built all of the heart of our system around this to be able to give agents what they need. So we have an agent desktop in Connect. That's something we didn't have a few years ago. And we obviously have some great partnerships with folks who deliver things like Salesforce to give a great experience for our integration. In fact, Salesforce uses us for their own customer service. But we also love the fact that we know that some customers want to be able to configure something that's very specific and tailored to their needs. And so we started building out our agent desktop strategy. The first step was the contact control panel, making that fully integrated, all of your contacts in one place so you can move seamlessly between them, whether they're a voice, whether they're some form of text, or whether it's a task. And then being able to now have a much broader experience about bringing customer profiles forward. So we have a whole tool that can bring all of your customer information in one place, pull it out of different back-end systems. We have nearly 100 connectors to different back-end systems, and you can also connect to your custom ones there. And it uses AI to actually bring together that and match those customer data records so that you can not have duplicates across it and know who's who. So we can bring all that information from all the silos you have into one place to make decisions. You can give that information to the agent the way you want to. I talked about step-by-step guides that allow you to move through this stuff. We now offer cases to track issues for you. And we also have Knowledge and Agent Assist. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. You probably heard the announcement of Amazon Q yesterday. Did any of you see that in Adam Selipsky's talk? Our work there is really exciting. We are generally available with this, so you can get the benefit of generative AI today in Amazon Connect for agent assistance. It's very, very exciting for us. This is something where we can pull in the information you have, turn it into a set of information, snippets and things that your agents can actually use directly to communicate to the customer instead of having to read through the article and try and convert it into English or whatever language you're choosing to speak, but trying to convert that into natural, something you could say. Again, take that cognitive load off the agent so that they're spending their time doing the right things with it. So we use the generative AI to be able to provide next best actions, to suggest the right things to say. We're continuing to iterate on this to improve it. We already have customers in production with it. Orbitz is one of them. They're reporting back that they've seen measurable, significant improvements in agent handle time there. And we are going to continue to work with customers like you to bring this forward so you get the benefits right away of this. Here are some examples of what this looks like in the place, and in the middle there you see one of the step-by-step guides. This is created very easily within the flows, and inside there you see the experience where we indicate we've detected the issue. So we're actually able to listen in on the call, and instead of the agent having to type in what they want to understand there, we can actually search and create those answers for them on the fly. And we do it in a way over there where it's very clear to the agents that it's happening, but we also try to keep it in a place where it doesn't interrupt the agent's flow of what they're doing at the time too. So the agent's still in control, but they're getting the benefit of this in a subtle but powerful way that it helps them move more quickly and keeps them, you're using the word flow, but keeps them in the flow of what they're doing to support that customer. So supervisors get a ton of benefit from the tools that make their agents better without them, but they also have a ton of work to do on their own to make agents successful. And so we have a very powerful metrics and analytics engine in Connect. It works broadly across all those channels and all this data, and it also works to support all the new features we bring out. So you're getting these analytics from day one in a way you can consume them easily and directly. Your data is your data. We want you to be able to get access to it, and we want you to be able to use it the way you want to. We're continually innovating in this space. It's an incredibly exciting area for us. One of the things we brought out this week is new dashboards. And these new dashboards make it much easier to see the data in time. And you can see the powerful filters in there that allow you to look at things like week over week. So show me how today compares to last week on the same day, or what it was like last month on the same day. Things like that allow you to have a much more powerful experience much more easily. We still will have all of the powerful detailed data for every individual contact as well that you guys love about Connect. But this makes it much easier for supervisors to get started and to get to the data they want quickly in a way they can consume it easily. This is another one. For those of you who listened to Adam's keynote, you probably heard zero ETL used a few times. Folks may or may not know what that is. I know it's a bit of a jargony term, but it is actually a very simple value proposition, which is instead of having to suck data out of one place and then try and transform it into the format you want it to be, and then load it somewhere else to get access to it. Instead, we can deliver it right in AWS for you to be able to point directly at and access it without doing any of that heavy lifting of a data pipeline. This is an incredible lift for work that is just repeated by many, many customers over and over again. We were already a leader in giving our data to you in a way you could consume it. Now we've made it incredibly easy. I'll give you an example of this that will be easy to understand. For example, now you could simply point QuickSight, our BI tool, or something like Tableau directly at this data to access it. This is in preview. It's something that our customers are incredibly excited about. It makes it really easy to join that data with other data points. For example, those tools have the ability to point to multiple data sets at the same time, so you can see data from across your enterprise as well in one place. So generative AI-powered post-contact summarization. So I don't know how many of you are using Contact Lens, or we have Contact Lens users out there. I see quite a few of you. So this is a tool that does a really good job of transcribing, understanding what's happening, alerting you, making it clear when you want to detect things that have happened in a contact. Did an agent say the right disclaimer, for example? One of the things it did is summarize these contacts, but the summaries were very long often because they were taking what was happening and essentially just making the transcription much nicer to read. Well, that's great, but what you really wanted was a true summarization, which is show me a few lines of what actually happened in the call, as opposed to making me try and figure this whole thing out. So now with generative AI, which is exceptionally good at understanding those types of things, we can bring that to you directly in it. This is a great example where instead of having to go buy a generative AI product and try and bolt it on the side of it, we're just taking a product that's already really good and making it better with generative AI. So very exciting for us to deliver this to you, something I think you'll really appreciate if you've been trying to go through and understand what's happening in your contact center quickly. It's really useful for customers. That one is in preview, but will be GA in the not too distant future. Finally, I'll get to administrators. These are the folks, many of you probably have administrative tasks in your areas, and certainly you're working with administrators to help manage your contact center. One of the big things we mentioned about the deployments of Connect was that it can be so fast. Dow Jones did a full production rollout in 3 weeks. We've had a major bank in the UK that did their selection process in about 6 months. Then they did an implementation evaluation process, planning process for about 6 months, and then they did their deployment in 6 months. So end to end, from deciding they wanted to find a new contact center to being fully deployed and connect with 6,000 agents live in 18 months, and of which only really 6 months of it was the true deployment. There's a lot of factors in here, as the Cap One folks talked about. I'm sure your enterprise, if you're a large enterprise, has a lot of stakeholders, right? Managing all that was probably the biggest and hardest part of that whole deployment for them. And we certainly are willing to help there with the fact that the technology can be flexible and help them deliver the things those stakeholders want. So another area, I mentioned those customer profiles where we can bring all that data together. One of the most cumbersome parts of that has always been trying to figure out how to match the schema across the different data sets, and it's a manual process to go in and say, hey, this is the first name, this is the last name, this is some other ID. So we said, okay, what we should do here is look at generative AI. If it's so good at recognizing things, could that actually help you recognize the data you need to import into your and speed up that really painful process? And the answer was yes. So today, you can actually do this directly in Connect, and it's generally available as part of our customer profiles platform. Folks are using those customer profiles to power agent experiences, to power automated experiences in Connect, and they're even using them to power experiences outside of Connect where they want to be able to point to something and change the behaviors of their app. Choice gave a talk on this week, which was really compelling to talk about how they're using it that way. We love the fact that it's so flexible for people, very performant, so you can have those experiences be incredibly quick. You can choose to use it as a repository as to be the main copy of this data, or you can also use it to join the data from other places that you consider to be the main copy, and then also write it back to those places if you want to keep it up to date, because it's really hard, I know, to keep your data across all these different things together. This makes this much easier. I mentioned how much of Connect is no code and low code. This is our no code UI builder for guides. I mentioned the step-by-step guides. So this is the way you actually just go in and use drag and drop tools to create those guides to make that experience for agents seamless and do it very quickly. A lot of fun, a really fun feature. Third-party applications, we love the idea you build everything into a guide and integrate with your third-party applications directly through those guides, but we also know that's not always practical or necessarily the best experience. We now offer a third-party integration directly into our desktop. Customers are loving this to be able to bring those parts in. This is in preview. We'd love to have you guys try it out if you want to. Really powerful. People are having a great time with it. So what was the whole point of all this? I just threw a bunch of new features at you. Hopefully you followed most of them. We love shipping. We'll ship, I think, more than 150 features this year, significant features too. And those features will improve your ability to innovate on top of Connect very quickly. But really important is that it's one seamless solution for you to be able to do this with, so you don't have to go and buy and cobble together this stuff. Again, it's about your innovation. That's why we're doing this work. Of course, you still may want some help, I'm guessing. We talked about the partnership we have with our customers. We have a ton of offerings here that can help enable you to do that successfully. We will help you as much or as little as you want. I have customers I've never spoken to. They've never talked to us. They just showed up one day in my report of customers. I have other customers who I talk to on a very regular basis, and we love the fact that we have both. So we don't have time today for any QA, but I can step outside in a minute and we can have that conversation if you guys have specific questions for me. If you would like to join us tonight, we're having a little bit of a customer appreciation event. If you want to sign up for it, do this quickly, because I'm going to give you a couple more things to look at in a second. So you can also talk to, raise your hand, Ryan. Ryan will also help you get signed up for that if you have any trouble with the thing there. And then here are some of the breakout sessions with the customers. For us, again, it's all about the customer success here. So these are some of the customers who are speaking about Connect for us on our behalf with our team here. We love that. And here are some more. So thank you so much for today. As I hope it shows, I'm incredibly excited what we're doing here with folks like you. We want to do more of it. So thank you so much for coming over here. Thank you very much.